Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Ubuntu 25.04 has launched and I'm really excited to talk about it. There are a ton of new changes in this release, including GNOME 48, tons of new changes in there. So without wasting further time, let's excitedly dive right in. Alright, welcome to Ubuntu 25.04, Plucky Puffin. So before I give you a tour of the desktop and tell you what's new this time around, we're just going to go ahead and try to install Ubuntu. I'm just going to show you the process. I'm not actually going to install this and waste your time, so English it is, language. Accessibility settings right up front in the installer. I really love seeing this. Seeing high contrast, reduce animation, screen reader, hearing, visual alerts, typing, sticky keys, slow keys, pointing and clicking, mouse keys, and zoom, desktop zoom. Very neat and clean for Ubuntu to have it right out of the gate for a lot of people. Salute to you. Canonical. Select your keyword layout. We're going to keep it at English United States. Connect to the internet. We do have a wired internet connection, so we're just going to go ahead and interactive installation. You can also choose an auto install file. So for example, if you have a YAML file with particular values, suppose you're in a school, you have to set up a fleet of Ubuntu computers for your students. So you can go ahead with the YAML installation, but for now we are going to stick with the interactive one. So default selection, and so you just get the essentials, web browser, basic utilities, extended selection, and offline friendly selection of office tools, utilities, and web browser. So you could choose this if you don't really have much internet. For example, the ISO that I downloaded was 5.4 gigabytes in size, so I assume it does have a lot of applications pre-installed, and if you need these applications, it's better to just go with the offline friendly version instead of having to download them over again, especially since you already downloaded the 5.4 gigabytes ISO. So moving on, install recommended proprietary software. We're going to go ahead and click on both of these, install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi, download and install support for additional media formats. You can see including but not limited to MP3, MP4, MOV, and similar types. We're going to click next. Let's see what happens. Erase disk and manual and install Ubuntu, or you can go ahead with manual install. All right, so once you're inside manual partitioning, what you can do is you can go ahead and create different partitions. For example, the boot partition and the home partition. You can have the separate home partition, you can have separate root partition, whatever you want to. For example, let's just say 500 megabytes of, let's just say ext4. You could choose it as your boot partition. Then for the remaining, you could have, for example, 10 gigabytes of ext4. This is going to be your root. And if you want to have a separate partition, you can also just go ahead and have, for example, this is going to be your home partition where everything resides. So for example, you could have it to separate home partition, or you could also have separate swap spaces. A lot of things you could do manually over here. Okay, so we're not going to go ahead and do any of this. We're going to go ahead and erase and install Ubuntu. I think if I click on next, it's going to ask me to encrypt or not to encrypt. We're going to go ahead with no encryption. Let's click on next. You're going to enter your name. Anirban, that's my name. You're going to have a beautiful computer's name. So Anirban PC, I think that's pretty good looking. Password. No more jokes about having a weak password. This is just to show you guys I myself made that joke maybe a couple of hundred times on this channel. We're not going to use Active Directory, and we are going to require my password to log in. So next, you will create your account. You will choose where you are. I am in Kolkata. Click on next, and then it gives you a summary of what you select. We're just going to cut it out. And now with the boring part over, we are going to dive into Ubuntu. So welcome to the desktop. The dock at the left, the bar at the top with the workspaces. If you know Ubuntu, you are going to know this desktop. Now, a few things that have changed this time around is one of the things is that notifications are grouped by the application. So if you have 3 notifications, 2 from weather. They're going to be grouped together. I don't have notifications to show you, unfortunately, but that is going to happen with GNOME 48. That's pretty cool. You have your calendar on the right-hand side. Again, you have your accessibility default. It's showing up on the bar by default, and I think that's pretty cool. You also have the option to take a screenshot, go directly to settings, turn off your computer volume controller. You can have wired connections because this is inside a virtual machine, so it does show me to have wired connections. And you can also enable or disable dark style. That wallpaper looked pretty sick, I have to agree. Okay, as for the dock on the left, you do get the install because it's not installed. Pinned apps, Firefox, Thunderbird for your email, files, the beautiful file manager, Nautilus, Rhythmbox for listening to music, LibreOffice Writer. This is a Microsoft Office alternative, so there you go. App Center, which is actually excellent. And then help, and also you get some of your mounted volumes. Actually, these are not mounted right now. You do have the option to mount them, and then your trash. Now, once you click on the Show Apps button, you do get all of the apps that are available and the 2 workspaces that are available to you by default. You have a pagination arrow over here, and as you can see, additional drivers, calculator, clocks, utilities, very standard apps. This does not overwhelm you, but it also does give you all the basic apps that you need to start with so that you don't directly need to go and hunt in the App Center just as you have installed your operating system. Text editor, terminal, transmission, a very important torrent client. I use transmission a lot, and that's it for the basic overview. Now, let's talk about what's new this time around in GNOME 48. So introducing GNOME 48 Bengaluru. Hey, well, I'm Indian, and seeing the Indian name Bengaluru on GNOME 48, that makes me incredibly proud. So I talked about notification stacking. You do have that. You have a ton of performance improvements, including dynamic triple buffering. So what this does is it smoothens out your animations, and it basically ensures that you always have pretty good animations and fluidity on your screen. And you also get an enhanced image viewer. I'm not sure if this is available in Ubuntu right now. I checked the beta version, the one I am on right now, and I didn't find it, but I am pretty sure this is going to come in the final release. So, for example, and Files opens up suddenly. That took a week and a half. So this is a beautiful enhanced image viewer that we have over here. It's going to not only allow you to view images, which is its like day job, and it also allows you to edit images at a very basic level. It's better than nothing, and I really appreciate it for being here. The image viewer zoom controls have also been redesigned for GNOME 48. Digital well-being is one of the newer things. So I'm not going to show you a screenshot. Let's just open digital well-being over here. Let's go to the start menu. I like to call it a start menu. I guess I'm old-fashioned that way. And over here you do get, don't expect this to be as flushed out as something which is available in your Android or iPhone, but as you can see, I have logged in 36 minutes. It does show your average of the day, your average of the week, which I think is pretty handy. And even though you cannot set app limits, but you can set a screen time limit, so you can turn it on. You can have it to 8 hours, 7 hours, and you can have minutes. We're going to keep it off because we are an adult, and even though my parents do scold me from time to time, we're going to pretend that it doesn't happen anymore. Grayscale, so you can enable grayscale. So for example, once you cross out the time limit, it becomes grayscale. So for example, let's just say in under 15 minutes, so I've already crossed 15 minutes, right? I am 36 minutes, so the entire screen has turned grayscale. This is something that they do to reduce activity in your brain or something, because you're not as excited by the grayscale screen as you would be by having colors. I mean, as a photographer by hobby, I think this looks pretty nice as well, but I do get the idea that if you are watching a movie or something, this might not be as appealing and you would be more inclined to turn your phone off. Let's go back to colors, and we are back in the 2000s. And you also get break reminders. So you do have eyesight reminders, reminders to look away from the screen, movement reminders, reminders to move around, movement break schedule, 5 minutes or 30 minutes, and also sounds to play when a break ends. I think this is fantastic. I'm not going to say it's better than nothing because it is a lot. It's definitely not as much as what you get in Android or iOS, but then those apps have been developed for quite a few amount of years. This is the first time well-being is coming out on GNOME, and I really appreciate the direction they're taking GNOME in. All right, let's move on with whatever is new this time around. And so I already talked about screen time, screen limits, break reminders. You do also get the ability to preserve battery health. Again, this is something which I didn't find out in my Ubuntu beta, but once the final release rolls around, I'm pretty sure it's going to be there. So what happens is you can limit the battery charge at 80% when the device is plugged in. So this, I think all of you know that this would help keep the battery alive. It would help keep the battery from degrading over time, because as we all know, a battery stuck at 100% for a long amount of time is not particularly good for the battery's health. So, I mean, you can play games, especially if you have a gaming laptop or something, and you really need that juice. You can have it plugged in at 80% and not be afraid about the battery levels dropping. You also get time zone support in Calendar. This release adds time zone support to the Calendar app. This means you can now create events with specific time zones for their start and end times. You can also view and change the time zone when editing events that have been created in another app or which have been shared with you. And you do also get HDR support in GNOME. It is a very important milestone for HDR support in GNOME with the release of GNOME 48. They have the initial introduction of system level HDR support. That means that if you have an HDR display, it is now possible to have HDR output shown from apps which support it. Currently, the number of apps which support HDR is, of course, limited. However, work to extend it is ongoing, and the availability of this feature is only going to expect to increase the number of apps in the future. And now GNOME also introduces global shortcuts. So apps can now create their own system-wide shortcuts. This is useful for cases when you want to control an app not directly interacting with it. For example, when recording screencasts, apps must request permission to add global shortcuts, and global shortcuts can be removed from the apps page in the settings app. That is amazing. Window placement improvements. Now windows are placed in the center by default. So for example, this and this, they're all placed in the center like you saw. Some people like spread, some people like center. It's really up to you. You also get enhanced support for special function keys. So if your keyboard includes copy, paste, cut, these keys can now be used in entries and text fields. The find key is also now supported in many contexts to initiate searches. That's pretty good. Context UI improvements, layout of contact editing has been improved. Settings refinements, region and language formats dialog has been updated. Orca screen reader is now available on Wayland. Refined app interfaces, maps modernization, and accessibility support in the web. Let's just dive into the settings app and we can talk about what's exciting with GNOME. We already talked about digital well-being. Let's just start with the About section. Okay, so in system, you have region and language, date and time, users, remote desktop, secure shell, and about. You also have software updates right over here. So if you click that, you are going to be redirected to a little panel that's going to check for updates. We're really not going to do that right now. Moving on, let's click on About. So Ubuntu, these are all details for my virtual machine. If you click on System Details, you can see OS name is Ubuntu Plucky Puffin, and this is the development branch or the beta. GNOME 48, we are on Wayland, of course, and we do get Linux 6.14 kernel. And this is their new logo, by the way. Accessibility, I think we all talked about it in the introduction section of the video. Printers, color management, you can add a printer, you can have different color managements. Keyboard, you can add sources, you can have your inputs switched. Mouse and touchpad, I mean, you guys know all of this, so you can change the cursor from left to right, the left click from left to right. You can increase or decrease your mouse pointer speed. Mouse acceleration can be turned off, and the scroll direction can be adjusted. You can also test your settings right here. Let's go to sharing. So you can share media, and you can share files, folders, and you can share music, videos, and pictures. You can add folders, and you can also have network sharing enabled, which would be pretty good. Online accounts, Google, email for Microsoft 365, Nextcloud. You can add all of your online accounts that you would want to. For search, you can include apps to be searched, and search results will include all of these apps by default. You can add more apps. The more you install, the more I think are added to this list, and you can just go ahead and turn them on or off depending on what you want. As for notifications, you can enable do not disturb. Lock screen notifications are enabled by default, which is pretty good. Coming up with apps, you do get default apps. You can change it to Thunderbird Mail or to Firefox. For calendar, you have calendar or Thunderbird Mail. Videos, you can change it. For photos, you can change it as well because it does provide you a few options. You can also enable the option for removable media, and you can have what you want to do for CD, DVD. If you insert them, what's going to happen, like you can ask what to do. You can directly open Rhythmbox. You can do nothing, or you can just open the folder containing your music files. So that's excellent. Now coming up to Ubuntu Desktop, right? So here is one of the places where you can customize a little bit. So you have the desktop icon size as normal. You can make it large. You can make it tiny. You can make it small. I think we're going to keep it at normal. That looks right. And you can change the position to top left, top right, or bottom left. Now coming to the dock, this is really exciting, guys. I love the dock, okay? You have the ability to auto hide the dock. So when any window overlaps with it, the dock will be automatically hidden. I don't really like that. Panel mode, the dock extends to the screen edges, so if you don't have that enabled, you will just have a floating dock, which IMO looks beautiful. You can show it on primary display, all the displays, or in another one. I'm not really sure what this is, maybe something related to virtualization. We're gonna stick to primary display for now, and what I like is to have it at the bottom. So this gives me a Mac OS kind of vibe, and to be honest, I really dig it. You can also configure the dock behavior, so you can include unmounted volumes. I'm going to disable that the first time I see it and not include network volumes. I'm going to show trash, and I could have just done that and it would have just gone away. Okay, you can also have enhanced tiling pop-up, so show the list of open apps to fill empty screen space after tiling a window, or tile groups. You can keep windows grouped together when tiled so that raising one brings up the group. Okay, pretty much, I guess we're done with the dock. We're gonna have it like this because I like the Mac OS vibe of Ubuntu. And we're gonna go to the most important, the best portion of my review, the appearance tab. So you can enable dark mode and it looks absolutely fantabulous. This is the show apps. This doesn't really change much, but if you open something like the file manager, you can have beautiful dark mode right up in front of your eyes. And you can also change colors. So for example, if I choose purple, I hope this is purple. I confuse between violet and purple. This is not pink. Dude, this isn't pink. This is more like violet. So, okay, we're gonna go with purple and it looks pretty good. What about yellow? I think yellow looks pretty good as well. Okay, what about green? Oh, green looks fantastic. I think we're gonna stick with green, although yellow looked good as well. And let's go see through our wallpaper list what we have. So this, ooh, this looks good. What about this one? Oh wow, this is fantastic. But I already think my mind is made up. The first time I saw this image, I was like, this is gonna be my thumbnail. And I am a really big Aurora fan, if you didn't know about me. If you didn't know that about me, and I really think this is gonna be the thumbnail for the video. We also have Puffin wallpaper, so this is the Puffin. We have others as well. This is really good. Let's just go with the light mode and see the colored version of that same Puffin. It looks really good. Somebody made that image and it's really outstanding. You get different variations of the same dark wallpapers, and you also get something like this. It does look like red blood cells floating through your veins or something. But it looks cool, but I think I'm gonna stick with this. I know what I'm gonna stick with, okay? This is really cool. Now, we're gonna come up on multitasking. You do get hot corners, these are disabled. So touch the top left corner to open the activities overview. We're gonna keep it disabled, and you also have active screen edges. Always enable this. I'm not sure why it's disabled out of the box, but it is so helpful to just have your apps stick to the other side, and then whatever other apps you have, it will automatically suggest to you to open that as well. So now you have two apps side by side to work on. That's pretty good. You also get dynamic workspaces or a fixed number of workspaces, and you can have workspaces on your primary display or on all displays. You can also include apps from all workspaces or include the apps from the current workspace only when you're app switching. And we can also include apps from all monitors or include apps from each monitor only. Coming up on power, this is supposed to have two other things. It's supposed to have the charging limiter that I talked about, and it's also supposed to have a high power option, a high performance option. I think this is a virtual machine, so that's why it doesn't really have it. So, I mean, if you are playing games, always set it to high performance mode and you're gonna love it. Right now, we're gonna stay at balanced, and that's perfectly fine for now. Sound, built-in audio, output, balance, overamplification. If you are on a laptop, by the way, overamplification is something you probably would want to turn on anyway, because what happens is most laptops, they do come with Windows and they do have drivers on their website that tweak the audio. That doesn't happen on Linux, so you are left with oftentimes a very lower volume even though you are on max volume. So overamplification helps out by quite a bit. You don't have to crank it to 200 always. Keeping it somewhere at 125, 150 often helps out a lot. You also get displays, so here you can change the aspect ratio. Scaling, you can also enable fractional scaling, which is pretty good, 100, 125, 150%. You can also enable nightlight. It's not available because it's from a virtual machine. That's understandable. And you also have orientation and resolution and refresh rate. I don't think Bluetooth is going to be available. Again, it's a virtual machine. It's not going to be there. And network, you can see this is wired. Because I am in a VM, so it shows up as wired, and you can change network settings. You can do all that good stuff. Right, so now that we're done with settings, let's move on to the software center. So this is the app center for GNOME, and I really, really love it. I know a lot of you guys hate snaps, but the app center design in general, I think it is absolutely fantastic. But my favorite is still GNOME Software Center. I am not going to change that decision today or tomorrow until and unless I see a better Software Center. On opening App Center, you do get a beautiful screen greeted with featured snaps, Mumble, Color Paint, Insomnia. Insomnia is pretty good, by the way. It's used by developers if you know about it. And you do get games. You have the option to install Steam, Discord. Let's open Steam. And you can see this is the channel, latest beta, latest candidate, or the latest edge. I'm not really sure if it is the snap or the flat pack. I don't think this is a flat pack. It will never be a flat pack. It probably is a snap, although it does not mention what it is. Other distros, they often mention if it's a snap or a deb or a flat pack or whatever. Okay, so you also get a couple of other things. You have beautiful cards. I mean, overall, I like this. You have different categories: featured, productivity, development, games. You also get managed to manage your already installed apps, and you can see you also have other things in here as well. For example, Firefox, firmware updater, Snap Store, so you can update them directly from here, and you can also switch the channel to something else. We're not going to bother with it right now, but you can do that. These are all snaps, so welcome to snaps, baby. Overall, I think Ubuntu is a fantastic piece of distribution with GNOME 48. I mean, this is going to be there for 9 months, and then you're going to have another one, 25.10. Every increase is an opportunity to go through Ubuntu, to really like how Ubuntu looks. And I know a lot of people hate on Ubuntu, and they do have sketchy decisions made, but we can't ever forget the fact that Ubuntu is the gateway to the world of Linux for a lot of people, almost for everyone. And so with that, we come to the end of the video. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you stuck around till the end, let me know down in the comments, okay? I have never had a single comment that I stuck around till the end. And I know this is a long video and all that good stuff, but thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for watching, and have an amazing night. See you next time. Peace.